Coming up on today's show, we have a special guest. A woman who homeschools her kids offers great advice benefiting all moms.
This is the Imperfect Moms Club with your hosts, Lisa and Brittany.
So today we're chatting with one of my real life friends, Melissa, who I think of as the Martha Stewart of motherhood. So Melissa, can you introduce yourself? Like, how many kids do you have? What do you do?
Yeah. So I'm Melissa. I write the blog One Maine Mama, and I live in Maine with my 4 children and my husband. My husband, Mr., he works from home now, and we're starting a small farm. And I have 4 kids, Mr. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Mr. 1 is 13. I officially have a teenager. I can't believe that. Mr. 2 is 10. Mr. 3 is 6. Mr. 4 is 4. And we have our dog Finn, our puppy Finn, and 12 chickens and 3 pigs, and we're getting cows next month. So yeah, we homeschool here, and we just recently sold our home that we built, and we bought a family home closer to all the rest of our family. So we're still not settling in so much as sometimes I still have to realize that I live up here where I grew up and with our family so close. It's wonderful.
Yeah. There's like a lot of cows around where you live. Like
there are a lot of cows. Yeah.
Because I drove up to your house to visit you. I don't know. Yeah. Couple months ago, I remember what it was. And I was driving through like farmland, and I'm like, okay, barns, okay, cows, great. And then like I drove through like a neighborhood, and some guy had a cow just in his backyard. And I'm like, what?
They have a cow and a race car in front of their house. Like right there. Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So like I said, you're like the Martha Stewart to me, because you do everything from like animals. Now you do animals. Okay. And like cooking.
Martha would call that animal husbandry. So now animal husbandry. I love Martha. I am not her, but I love her.
Yeah. And then you do like gardening and home decor and cooking from scratch and like hiking. It's just everything, all the things.
I try to stay active. I try to do whatever I can. So we have fun. So
yeah. Okay. So tell us, because you homeschool. So walk us through what a typical day looks like for you, like the homeschool edition and then like the summer edition.
Sure. Well, I think the middle of the summer looks different than the start of the summer. Personally. So I'll start with the regular school day and then we'll go to that. So regular school day, I try to get up before my kids, but often my youngest hears my eyelids open. And so no matter what time I get up, he hears them open, and I have a little buddy, which I don't mind a little buddy. Don't get me wrong, but I do try because I crave that quiet time in the morning. I get up and the first thing I do is drink water. I take a big lug of water, and sometimes I'll brew tea. I don't know, but I always drink a big cup of water first. And then I try and have the first thing my eyes land on is my Bible time. So I try to have that be the very first thing that my brain processes. So I sit down and I do my Bible time, and then I usually make breakfast, and the kids start waking up like anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30. I usually get everyone up by 7:30 on a regular day, unless someone was up late or unless someone was not feeling well or we'd have to go somewhere, obviously. So we get up and we have breakfast, and then I try to feed them and then squeeze in my workout. So I try to do something. And now that we have the dog, they go walk him, or sometimes if I need to walk, I'll go walk him. So then usually by 9, I like to be showered and dressed and everyone's sitting at the table for like a morning time. So morning time consists of, we pray for the start of our day. We do a little Bible time, a devotional with the 4 of us, which is, it's kind of hard to make an effective Bible time for kids ages 4 through 12 or 13, because just turned 13. So I try my best. And we do a lot of, like we have a bucket of Play-Doh and putty, like thinking putty. Have you seen those? The silver
yes.
Tin. We love Play-Doh, but putty is where it's at for us. So they almost always have that. And then I'll usually read aloud for a little bit. So that brings us to about 9:45 or so. And if I can stop them from saying they need a snack, we get into lessons. So we don't do a ton on the computer, but my older boys did do math. So they would trade off usually one-on-one time with me and math. And then they would switch. It depends on where my kindergartner was at, honestly, where he was at in his day. If he felt like doing school first thing, I did it. I wasn't going to say, no, we're going to wait a little bit. I tried not to. If he felt like doing it a little later, we'd do that. Then we just plug away and get our stuff, just get our stuff done. There's not really, the only rhythm that we have is that we just get it done when we can. And then we usually break for lunch around 11:30 and usually get outside for a little fresh air, or even mid-morning, we'll take a break and go outside. Just depends on how much we've done. And then we have lunch, and then we wrap up anything else. Like usually my kindergartner was done with his, because he didn't have a long, extensive day, and neither the other boys, but they would usually wrap up any loose ends, practice piano, do some free reading, and then we would either have quiet time or I would go outside, or we'd all go outside. And sometimes quiet time is them watching TV and me laying down, or them using their Kindles. I usually save my youngest boys' tech time for either quiet time or school time. Like it depends. So because sometimes that's the only way it gets done. So then quiet time, and then, I get some housework done, and then I'm prepping dinner. And honestly, every season looks different because sometimes we play sports. So it depends on when the practices are. We have piano lessons on one day of the week, so it depends on that. Yeah, and then Tuesdays are always our homeschool group, so we travel a bit, and so Mondays are spent getting ready for that day, and then Wednesdays are sometimes spent recovering from that day.
Yes.
So that's what a school day. And then summertime, like the first couple weeks of summer, we watch TV all morning. I'll sit and sip coffee or tea out on the deck, or I'm in the garden for a long time, and I'm just like, keep yourselves alive. I have things to grow. But summer, really, it's no 2 days are the same. Now that we live near family, like literally, I just got off the phone with my mother-in-law, and she said, "Can Mr. One come over for a sleepover?" I'm like, "Sure." He has youth group from 6:30 to 8:30. Can you bring him and pick him up? Sure. Okay. And she was here in 15 minutes, and then he's going and I'm on here. So like it really changes now so much. So there's really no specific day. We do try to keep a quiet time, especially if people are getting tired, like after a few days, they haven't had enough sleep, or they're just getting whinier earlier in the day. We also I try to do deer time, drop everything and read. So I just call around to Alexa and say, set a timer for 15 minutes. And it doesn't matter. I say, no, timer's going, sit down with a book, get a book. I don't care. Don't talk to me. I'm reading. And I read my own book, and they read a book. So, and then sometimes we'll have a treat or something. So just trying to make it fun and enjoy, and do a lot of those kind of things. So I spend a lot of time in the garden, and I love that. Last year, my garden kind of saved my sanity during the shutdown and everything. And now I realized how much I really enjoy it. So flowers and vegetables, I love it. So yeah, so those are what my days look like typically. So
that's amazing. I can't imagine having enough time. Like I'm listening to you and I'm like, how many hours are in your day? Because my day, I thought that, the same amount of hours, right?
How old? Your kids are a lot younger than mine though. So I remember I never thought I could homeschool. I always said, why would someone homeschool? Ugh. My parents are public school teachers. I never would have thought ever. And now I can't imagine it any other way. So I'm going into my 9th year of homeschooling. This fall will be my 9th year. And I feel like I'm just hitting my stride. It's all seasons. It's seasons of life. It really is. And you're in a rough one with littles. Don't you have a 2-month-old?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You're in a rough one, and a joyful one, but it's rough. So, you just got to hang on and survive and sleep if you can. That's all you're doing right now.
Yeah. I was talking to my husband, and I was like, I feel like I'm always overwhelmed, and I'm always constantly I have no idea what's going on ever. And so I'm trying to do all the things, but it's hard. And so some days we do nothing. I just keep my kids alive, and that's it. And so, yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. You have a 2-month-old. There are needs that are higher than you growing a garden or whatever, or exercise, whatever. You got to do what you got to do and enjoy them. That's the other thing. You got to try and enjoy it a little bit, because they are to be enjoyed. So, yeah.
It's definitely tough. I keep feeling like they're never going to get older.
I know.
I'm just I have that fear in the back of my mind, they're never going to get any older than they are. And so I'm never going to have, I'm never going to get any time back. It's just, I'm never going to have any time ever. And this is my life now, but.
No, it's hard to imagine that.
Yeah.
I know, because I've had 4 kids. I mean, we just got out of naps last summer, and I felt lightened, and my whole day does not hinge on his sleep, because with older kids, sorry guys, we can't go do something fun. Your baby brother needs to nap. We're going to stay home and clean the house. Isn't that fun? That doesn't work. So it's tough. I understand completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just now starting to ease out of nap time. And then
go. I'm sorry. I'm going to pause you just for a second.
It's hard because some days she's so tired and she really, really needs it. So I'm like, okay, do I give in and do we do the nap? Or do we just keep pushing? What do Me too.
And then she's up until 11 because she sleeps at 5.
Yeah, and then they're like major cranky pants in the afternoon. And I'm like, well, it's because she didn't nap, but she needs to go through this to get her body used to not napping. And I don't know. Maybe it's too early. Maybe it's...
Is she going to preschool next year?
Yeah. So she's starting K4. Well, the thing is like, and it's one of those things like, I know I'm not doing it by the book. I will sit there on her bed and hold her hand until she falls asleep. That's the only way she falls asleep is I have to hold her hand. Yeah. So I'll sit there for an hour.
Some people breastfeed their 3-year-old until there's, so who cares? Whatever. If she needs sleep, then who cares?
Yeah. But it takes me an hour or longer to get her to fall asleep. And then she sleeps for 20 minutes. And I'm like, I know. This doesn't seem like it's worth it.
Yeah. It's hard. She probably uses more energy, expelling more energy fighting it than she would have gained with the nap.
Well, it's almost like a scene from The Exorcist. She is like contorting her body in all these ways and somehow still holding my hand. And I'm like, why is your wrist not breaking right now? What can help me? I don't know.
Funny.
But also, so Melissa, you used to be a military wife. Was that?
I was for a very brief time. Well before I had 4 kids. Mr. Enlisted my junior year of college and proposed to me the October of my senior year. And then we got married that November. So that was 2005. And then I went over to Okinawa, and that's where our oldest was born 2.5 years after that. And then we came back to the States when he was 6 months. So I loved my time with the Marine Corps. There were some amazing people, and I'm still in touch with those people, and that because they just shaped, I think, my first days as a mother, because they all had 4 and 5 kids at that point. And the people I met there were so wonderful. Okinawa is a really special place, and it's mainly special because that's where we had so many firsts. So, so I was a military wife for a very brief amount of time. I was blessed by it, and I applaud all the other military wives out of there. It is not an easy job. So,
yeah. So you got to be with him. You didn't have to have him leave. Correct.
Yeah, he left for a 3-month period, but that was it. So I can't imagine, and it was not to a war zone. So I can only imagine the stress I babysat friends' kids who had their 4th child while their husband was in Afghanistan. Can you imagine having your child without, or even having your child while your husband isn't even there, never mind not watching your other kids, not being home, that's mind blowing to me. And they're just amazing gals. So,
yeah.
Well, before we get to our next little segment, I wanted to bring up something. It's actually something that means a lot to me is autism awareness. So I've never experienced autism in my personal life. I don't have children on the spectrum, but I do know moms that do have children on the spectrum. And so it's so important that we know the early signs because, for me, I really believe that the earlier that we can kind of see the signs, the faster we can get them the care that they need. And so, I applaud the moms that have children that are on the spectrum. I can only imagine how tough that must be, but it's got to be hard when you don't realize it until later, because you can just imagine the kids trying to learn or they're trying to hang out with their friends, and the older they get, the more they start to realize that things are different. And so I just wanted to share this message with you guys from Autism Awareness. Like I said, there are probably dozens of signs of autism, but the main ones include lack of speech, lack of eye contact, and then a sensory sensitivity. So you know your child best at recognizing the early signs of autism. It's an important first step. So early screening can make a lifetime of difference for both the parents and their children. And you can learn more about this at screenforautism.org. That's screenforautism.org. And this message brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The Imperfect Moms Club is brought to you by...
I was on the fence about changing from a manual to an electric toothbrush, but my hygienist said going electric could lead to way cleaner teeth. She said get the one inspired by dentists, with the round brush head.
Go pro with Oral-B. Oral-B's gentle rounded brush head removes more plaque along the gum line for cleaner teeth and healthier gums. And unlike Sonicare, Oral-B is the first electric toothbrush brand accepted by the ADA for its effectiveness and safety.
What an amazing clean. I'll only use an Oral-B.
Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Hello! Hello, this is your apartment. I need some favors from you. Your cat keeps rubbing against the kitchen island, and I can't return the favor. Can you give her extra pets for me? After that, could you bundle your renters and car insurance with Geico? We could save money, and it's easy to do online. And one last thing. Could you leave the TV on during the day? I need to catch up on my soaps.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
This is the Imperfect Moms Club with your hosts, Lisa and Brittany.
So now we get to pick Melissa's brain a little bit and hopefully better all of our lives after listening to this podcast. Okay, so you talked about homeschooling and you kind of touched a little bit on how like your typical day goes like on a good day. So how do you keep all of their stuff organized? Because you have a bunch of different grades happening all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this fall we'll have first grade, fifth grade, and eighth grade. And probably preschool too. Just depends on where he's at. I think my little guy is ready to do a little bit of preschool, so we'll do that. How do I keep it organized? I keep it minimal. I am a minimalist, and I just keep it because if there's less inventory, there's less things to get cluttered. So I have it written down here. That's why I'm looking at something. I just took some notes. So it takes time to get organized because you can't foresee the flow of your day until you have the flow of your day. So like I don't know if I need crayons at the ready because I don't know if we'll need them, but I don't want them out if I don't need them. So like it takes a couple weeks. I like a slow start to school, like maybe a week before our co-op starts. I will, we'll wake up and we'll do reading and we'll do some, I don't know, just little stuff, nothing crazy, but just to get up and get the wheels turning and remember how to do school. I think if you stress about a rhythm, not a schedule, because to keep it to a schedule that's stressful to me. It's 10 o'clock. We got to do math. I don't like that. But if we just do math after our break, whatever, sure. That's fine. So I really stress a rhythm and a lot of patience. I know people, that's the big, I could never homeschool because I don't have enough patience. That's a load of stinky stuff. It doesn't take patience. It teaches us patience, I think. And then you always just have books around. If someone doesn't know what to do, just go read a book. Mm-hmm. That's it. And then idle time doesn't feel wasted. At least they read a book. That's great. So, yeah. No,
I love that. Okay. So again, you have 4 different things happening at the same time. You can't like hover over each kid and make sure like, are you doing number 12? Don't you skip number 12 or are you paying attention to that paragraph? Mm-hmm. So like, how do you keep them on task? Do you have like incentives or? Well,
we homeschool classically. And so that is typically less worksheets and questions and go do all the even numbers on that. We don't do a lot of that, some, but not a lot. It takes training. It takes practice for them. Acknowledge the seasons, like if it's, a little kid, I'm not going to make sit down and do a bunch of worksheets or workbooks. That's just not the way it works well for us. Other people do, and that's awesome. I'm glad, but it's not ours. We're really it just takes, I do start with incentives, and I don't think it's not bribery if it's an incentive and it's just, hey guys, if we get done, we can go to the playground because that's a logical, natural consequence. If I do my work, we will have enough time to go to the playground. If not, mom can't do that and won't be able to make dinner on time. So you do your stuff and then we can go do something fun.
It's not something like, if you do this, like I'll give you a bunch of sugary candy.
Right. I mean, there's times where sometimes like if our challenge is getting ready in the morning, like I say it 1,000 times, brush your teeth, make your bed, get dressed, tidy your room. That's it. Like those things, that's fine. And if they can't manage to do that, I will maybe put a little Hershey Kiss at their seat when they finally come to their seat. And then it's just like a quiet, it's like not a big thing. But sometimes I do that, but not a lot. I agree with you.
I like that though.
I give myself a piece of chocolate every time I make my bed, so I don't know about you.
I think that's just however you get that encouragement.
Can I get a Hershey Kiss too?
Sure. So yeah, I can't hover over everyone. I don't want to, nor do they want me to. And that was a big thing when my oldest was first starting. I didn't realize independent work was such a skill. And so that's something that we really work on. And you just take it slow. Like you start and then I can come help you, but you need to get started. And then it just kind of flows. So we really work on independent work is a skill, I think, whether you're doing a workbook, whether you're reading or whether you're at a job. If I tell you to go feed the pigs, you got to go feed the pigs. That's a job. And you can, if it's age appropriate, you can do it. You don't need me to go tell you how to do it every time. There's a learning period. Yes, I'll go out and show you. And then you do it with supervision. And then you can do it by yourself. That's how, and I'm always handy to help, fix an issue if that comes up. So yeah, I can't helicopter and I don't want to. So, yep.
Yeah. And that's how I aspire to be too. I mean, when right now Lily's 2 and she's like all about like mommy and wanting to be on me. And then I have a 2-month-old that's like all, but once they get older, that's what I'm going to want to. And I mean, Lily's she's getting pretty smart. She learns really quickly. And so if I do show her something, then she can do it herself. And, I think now it's mainly she's just really clingy right now. But as far as like knowing how to do stuff on her own, she does. She just, wants mommy there, which.
Right.
I mean, she's nice. I don't want her to ever not want me, but.
Oh, no. I understand what you're saying. But she's still adjusting to being a big sister. Don't you think? I mean, she's still, her roller coaster is going all over, and that's just the learning process of it. So
I've definitely noticed like a regression, kind of like she, like the other day she was throwing a tantrum because she didn't want to go to bed. And then all of a sudden she was going, wah, wah, like a baby. And like, I was surprised because I didn't know that she like knew that sound, but she started, wah, wah. And like Paul and I looked at each other and we're like, what? But that's funny. Because, her, she's the baby does that. And so she's like, well, I want to be like my baby too. So you can, love me and be,
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it'll pass. It'll probably just take a little bit longer than I thought it would.
It will. You're doing everything right.
I'm trying to decide when to start like potty training too. And like I've read, don't start potty training when there's like a new sibling. So I'm like, when are they no longer a new sibling?
Oh, when is this no longer new? Like how?
I don't know. I loathe potty training. I have zero. Sometimes I've had a couple moms like ask me. I'm like, don't ask me. I don't know what I'm doing. I would say it's a lot easier to have them in diapers, and when she's ready, she'll do it. That's because you can't make a kid go potty. I mean, Brittany knows that.
Yes.
You can't make a kid do it. That's like they have the upper hand on you no matter what, because they can do it. So wait, people will tell you she should be, who shoulda, woulda, coulda. Just don't stress yourself and don't take it personally if she doesn't do it, because it's not on you. She will figure it out. So
Yeah, I tried the incentive thing. Like each of my girls, I'm not kidding. They took a year each to get potty trained.
Oh yeah, my boys too.
Oh, like what? And like I bought the little Peppa Pig characters, but I kept them in the box and I put it right by the toilet. And I'm like, okay, you go poop in the potty, you get to open up this box. And it would sit there for weeks. And I would even like let her sit on the potty and like hold it. And I'm like, we can open this when you go potty.
Right.
Please just
I think the worst part is that she would go for daycare, but she would do it at daycare, but not for you. That's just a slap in the face.
I know. They'll do anything for daycare.
Well, for her, yes. No.
Okay, so a couple more things. How do you keep up your own hobbies? Like you like to garden and exercise and read. And obviously, like when you read, you must just do it with your boys. Like, okay, it's reading time. Everyone get a book and read for a few minutes. But other than that, like how do you make sure that you have time to do things that you want to do?
I think the biggest thing is to acknowledge seasons. So like I just said, I'm coming out of the baby days, and I was there for a while, like I was there for 13 years. So like, or 12 years. So you need to acknowledge the seasons. So I don't think the time to spend hours a day, if you're going to do knitting or writing a book or reading, it's not going to be the time when you just had a baby. I don't think that that's logical, or that could be stressful. So if you acknowledge the season and say, okay, my kids are little, I will do those things another day. There's nothing saying that I can't, but right now it is not the time. My family needs me in other ways, and that's okay. It's not you losing yourself to your kids. It's not anything more than that. Do them a little here and there, but just, you need to not lose the skill, that's okay. So acknowledge the seasons and be intentional. It's really easy to stand there on my phone scrolling Instagram when I could be doing something that enriches me in a lot better way than being on my phone. So I'm really trying to be more intentional and not be on my phone so much. And that goes in waves as well. I can be gung-ho and then I catch myself the next week doing it just as badly. So you have to ask your spouse, or ask for help sometimes, like I really need to get some stuff done in the garden. Could you come and play with my kids, or can they come to your house? Trade off with a friend, look up to a friend, if it's grocery shopping, if it's knitting, if it's working with your Cricut, like whatever, like acknowledge that you might need help to do that in certain seasons. And that's okay. I think the biggest gift that I ever gave my kids was being near grandparents. So I'm blessed by them because they're always willing to take my kids or to come help me or whatever. So for like reading, I use reading to go to bed earlier a lot. So I just try and save a good book for like before bed. And that, gets me in a little chunk of reading, like 20 minutes, like not super long. But I also realize on days where I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, I should probably just go to bed. I don't sleep as well if I haven't turned off my brain with my book yet before. So I always try to read, even if it's a page. So yeah, I'm trying to read at least 21 books this year, and I'm almost there already. So I was pretty excited to read and listening to. Yeah, I'm at 19.
That's awesome.
And that's books read aloud with my boys or listened to or read by me. So I think always having my book nearby helps me because, again, it's so easy to grab your phone and I don't need to check on Instagram again today, So yeah. And then I kind of work things into, I just ask like, honey, I know you're busy, but I really need to go for a walk. And I make sure my big kids, because they stay up a little later now, they go to bed at 8:30, no matter what. I shouldn't say no matter what. That's my goal, because my husband and I need an hour or 45 minutes just to sit by ourselves at the end of the day. And so even if they're not going to sleep at 8:30, they can read, they can talk, whatever, but they need to be gone out of my space for at least an hour before I go to bed, because I try to get to bed by 9:30 so that I can read, and then I'm asleep by 10. That's my goal every night. It does not get met very often, but it's my goal every night.
Yeah. That's good. So what do you do for your own mental health to make sure that, I don't know, like we all can fall into this like spiral, like when we're moms of, trying to just do all of the things. And then that's always when someone starts having a fight or someone smears poop on the wall and you're just like, how do you keep it together? I know like you don't, I know there's going to be times you don't, but how do you try to keep it together?
I don't. I'm trying to teach my kids more to do things. And that's hard when you have little. So I understand that. I try to keep things minimal so that my house is easy to pull together and clean and do laundry and stuff like that, so that it doesn't take as long to do it because I have so much stuff, so I try to keep my spaces minimal. And even clothes, I downsized my boys' clothes because they didn't wear half of the clothes in their dresser, and I was literally breaking the dresser drawers trying to shove clothes in, the same 5 shirts that they wear every week on top of the 10 shirts that they don't wear. I'm like, I'm getting rid of this. They don't wear it. Like, why would I do this? It's ridiculous. So they don't want fancy clothes, and I don't want them to have it if they're not going to wear it. So exercise keeps my mental health up. So exercising, whether it's going for a walk or I do a lot of YouTube videos. I have a cycle bike indoors now that it's a knockoff of Peloton that I bought from a friend, and I love it. I used to teach cycle, so I really love being on a bike.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And when I lived in Virginia, I taught for a couple of years group cycle, and I love it. Like, lights are low, I got the headset on and the music's pumping. I love that. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, it's fun. How do I get, I do what I can. I just do what I can. Keep it minimal, and the house is easy to keep together. And I try to have my kids, because I figure if they're going to sweep the floor crappily, it's better that they do it crappily than I do it not at all. If crappily is a word, I just used it. So, they have to learn, and they have to do it in a horrible way to learn. I'd rather teach them that way. And that took a long time, because it's faster if I do it, and it's easier, and it gets done right. But they're not learning it, and they're all sitting and watching TV while I'm trying and grumbling under my breath to get the house cleaned up at the end of the day so that I can just sit down and relax. So you have to be intentional and teach your kids to do these tasks, and it's okay to do that. So
yeah.
What is one thing every stay-at-home mom should own?
Oh, I thought of this all day, actually. I think a practical item is an Instant Pot.
Yes.
I think that one. An Instant Pot, yeah. A good vacuum, too, is my other. I love a good vacuum floor. The other thing, figurative, would be a rhythm and or support. Like, I couldn't decide on those two. So having a rhythm, not a schedule, but a rhythm, and that your kids acknowledge, and having support, or either to talk to or to help you with your kids or to help you with a project or whatever at home. Those are what I think every stay-at-home mom should have. And if you don't have an Instant Pot, you should. I have a beginner's guide on my blog. I use it for a lot of things. And you have one too, Brittany. Do you have one?
Yeah. I have a crock pot.
Okay.
You got to get an Instant Pot for Christmas.
I don't want to be mean, but it's inferior to the instant.
I've heard that actually.
You can make chicken in like 7 minutes, like from frozen. It's great.
It's fantastic. I use it all the time. So, yep.
Yeah, I used to text Melissa. I was like, okay, what setting do I do? Wait, how do I do this? It's not locking. What am I doing wrong?
We never made yogurt together though. Before
I know my yogurt just turned into
paste, and we never made yogurt.
I tried. I think I killed it because I contaminated it with my spatula. I like stuck the spatula in the yogurt and like stirred it and then pulled the spatula out. And then I think I put it right back in again, like an hour later, and you're not supposed to do that.
I don't know what could have happened, but it was probably something simple, and you should try it again.
Something sciencey happened. Anytime I don't understand it, just say science.
Yes.
Science happened.
Yes.
That's an interesting question. What should all stay-at-home moms have? So I'm a stay-at-home mom too. So I was just thinking, you were talking about figurative. So I would say all stay-at-home moms need another stay-at-home mom friend. Mm-hmm. Like you need like somebody else that's in the same situation as you. Because I mean, before COVID happened, like I don't know how I would have survived if I didn't like have another mom that was also free all day, that had kids that I could just, because like, I mean, I have friends that are moms, but like they have jobs. So like during the day, I'm still alone. And so like important to have somebody that you can just any time of day, just be like, hey,
absolutely
anything right now, you know?
Yep.
I mean, because crises can happen anytime, and like, you know, having anxiety and having like depression, like it makes it so hard. And so, that's. Yep,
I agree. That support system is key.
Yeah. I wrote down planner. Every mom needs a planner of some kind. And then see, my problem is I write down in my planner, but I write the wrong day. So my planner's not doing me a ton of good, but I'm trying.
I'm like taking notes here because I feel like I'm like not doing any of these things. But I'm like, man, that's a good idea. Man, I should do that. Man, like maybe I should, you know, start to actually think about ways to make my life better. Or make my life easier than this.
Easier, not better. Easier. Yeah, because you're really just getting out of that. You're getting out of that newborn fog, you know, and it's not easy.
The first 2 months. The first 2 months are the worst. They are.
Yeah.
Like the babies are adorable. Like those little coos and like,
I love a newborn, but I'll breathe in that baby smell all day long, but it is not easy. No, you don't know what end is up, and you're bleeding and your boobs hurt. And I don't want to be mean. I don't think there's any men who listen to this, but like, that's the truth. Like you're not only listening, feeling, and your hormones are like a roller coaster. Oh, it's overwhelming. So I know I had postpartum with my fourth, and I thought, how could I have it with my fourth? Like, why is this? But I think it was because he was my last, and I knew it, and I thought he was a girl, and he wasn't, and I didn't realize how badly I wanted a girl, and that was really hard. I had a hard time, and I had to go talk to some people because it was really tough. So so go talk to someone if you need to. That's really important. So.
Yeah, I mean, so we talk all the time about normalizing, you know, postpartum depression, like it's such a real thing, but you also, can we just normalize wanting like a certain sex?
We can, absolutely.
It's real.
Like,
it's absolutely real.
Let's normalize that everybody has, it's okay to have a preference. Like I really wanted girls. Like I just wanted to be a girl mom. And so, you know, I was pregnant with Lily, and so we didn't know yet. And I told my husband, I was like, I guess, you know, I'll be happy with a boy. Obviously I'll love him and all that stuff. But then when that nurse called me and told me that I was having a girl, like I broke down at work. Like I was like sobbing because I wanted it so bad. But like, you know, I feel like a lot of women out there, like they feel like they should be ashamed for wanting one over the other. But I mean, it's not, you know, it's totally okay to.
I used to think that because we kept all except for one of our deliveries a surprise. And I used to think people were so superficial when they would find out, and that they would openly say that they wanted a specific gender for their baby. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I am that way. And I felt terrible because I did exactly what I judged them for. But like you have to have a picture in your head. Like, of course, you see those two lines on the stick and you're like picturing yourself holding that baby, and it's joyful, and it should be. But like you picture one or the other. You don't picture just this gender neutral baby in your hands, you know? So I agree. Normalize it because it just is, you know, we have to, God gave us imaginations, and that's one of the times that we use it, and that it's good. It's how we dream and what we pray for. So It's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough. Yeah.
So I have something funny about gender reveal parties, which I totally had one for Clara. Did I have one for Molly? No, I didn't have one for Molly. But anyway, my grandmother, who was in her late 70s, like had no idea what a gender reveal party was. And obviously the baby was still inside of me. Like I was maybe 4 or 5 months pregnant. And she thought what we were going to do was have the baby, not tell anybody, and then like have a party with like a blanket over the baby. And then 1, 2, 3, go, and like yank the blanket off. And she's like, oh, I don't approve of that at all. I think that is just so inappropriate. And I'm like, Grandma, that is not what we're doing. We are releasing balloons
with pink filling in it. That's what you're going to do.
Like, we're going to open a box and some balloons are going to come out and they're going to be blue or they're going to be pink. There's no sexual organs.
Yeah, that's so.
Nothing's on display.
That's so sweet.
She's so cute, and she's like, "Well, I just don't think that's appropriate." No, it's not. It's not appropriate. Like,
that's adorable.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to just take one quick break again, and we're going to talk about a great organization called Sound It Out Together. So our kids have a lot going on and a lot to deal with, especially recently with 2020 and 2021. But the thing is kids don't always have the language to express themselves. And if asked by a parent or a caregiver, they'll often say, I'm fine, or I'm cool, or it's all good. But there is a language that they know fluently, and that language is music. And when kids don't have the language, you can help them find the lyrics. Music can be a great way for caregivers and kids to start a conversation about emotional well-being. And it's important to start the conversation when the kids are young. Sound It Out is a collection of songs inspired by feelings of real kids brought to life through the lyrics of Camus, Toby, Empress of, and Lauren Jerigu. So go to sounditouttogether.org to hear the album and get tips and tools to start a conversation with your child. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Crest Gum and Sensitivity turns your ocean to
You like your drinks nice and cold, but the sensitive teeth thing is getting old. Time to say goodbye to the pain, cause having sensitive teeth is just so lame.
Crest Gum and Sensitivity turns your ocean to
80% of sensitivity starts at the gum line. Treat it at the source with Crest Gum and Sensitivity. Crest. Healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
This is the Imperfect Moms Club with your hosts, Lisa and Brittany.
Okay, so let's jump back in with our conversation with Melissa. We're wrapping things up. But okay, so one thing is I noticed on your Instagram that you're trying out like this new diet or food challenge thing. Like, what's that about?
Healthy Mama is my eating plan right now, and I am so grateful for it. I really like it. I started out with Whole30 in June. Mr. and I did the Whole30, and I've done it before, and it's hard, but it's good and kind of clears you out of all your sugar, and it makes you really think about food. And then I said, well, I've lost a couple pounds, but I need a plan. Like I need some guidance because I'm so confused. Like I'll eat one thing and I'm like, wait, is that protein or is that fat or should I be? And so I was just overwhelmed. And I've always, when I went to college, my freshman year of college, I lost 50 pounds. So like I've always been interested in fitness and nutrition, but I've always loved working out. So I'm very fortunate there. So I always thought that I could eat whatever I wanted because I like to work out. Well, now that I'm 38, that's not the case. My metabolism has changed and that's just the way it is. So, and we eat healthy. Like I don't eat a lot of junk, like I might eat some chocolate every day, but like we don't eat organic, but we don't eat a whole lot of crap. And I cook just about everything from scratch. And that's taken years to get that under my belt. Like I haven't always done that, but I've always loved cooking. It's fun to me. So I was looking around and one of my friends at our homeschool group, she said something about Trim Healthy Mama. And I said, what? I've heard about that. And that was like 10 years ago that I heard about it. I thought it was all fake sugars and all their products that you had to buy. And she's like, no. And she eats just about 100% organic and she's gluten-free. So she has to make everything on her own. And she says, no, there's so many options out there about traditional foods to use Trim Healthy Mama. So I really love it. It's such an approachable plan. It's biblically based, which I appreciate because my faith is important to me. So basically you're not combining your fuels. Carbs are not off limits. Neither is fat. You just have them separately. They have two different meals. So E meals are energizing. So that's healthy, gentle carbs, and S meals, which are satisfying fats. Do you know this plan, Lisa?
No, I don't.
Okay. So meals and snacks are either E or an S. And you load up with veggies in the middle. Like, that's what it is. And so, like, you eat every 3 to 4 hours. You're not like, I did intermittent fasting for a while and it helped me. But then I'm like, I'm never hungry. Like, I mean, what is this doing to my metabolism? I'm never hungry. And so why am I even eating? So I didn't feel well when I would stop when I wasn't eating for a while. So, but I wasn't hungry, if that makes sense. Like, I'm like, I don't feel good, but I'm not hungry. So yeah, I am just a couple weeks solid into it because it is quite a process and it's a bit of a language to learn, but it really makes sense to me. So I highly recommend reading the book. You can look things up online, but I highly recommend reading the book. I listened to their podcast. It's two sisters who started this. They're not dietitians. They're not nutritionists. They were just moms who had a bunch of kids. They have like 19 kids between the two of them. So like, one of them has like adopted 5 and has 10 kids of her own, something like that. And then the other one has like 14 kids and the other one has 5 kids. They know mom life. Like, they know what it's like to have a lot of kids and be postpartum and nursing. So it's like, it's great for nursing moms, pregnant moms. I'm like, my mom started it and it's like, it's great for moms of like all seasons of life. And you don't even have to be a mom. I think it is geared more towards women because we generally have more specific, our hormones shift differently than men, especially when we get up into our late 30s and 40s. So like postmenopausal women are using it and they're of that age. One of them is 50. So it just feels really good to have a goal for my eating, and it's no sugar, and that really bothered. Like, I realized like sugar knocks me out. I either get anxious or I get a headache or I get super tired, and sometimes all 3. Sugar is not good for me. I'm starting to learn more about stevia and things like that. And stevia, I thought that was a fake sugar for a while, but it's not really. So yeah, it's working well. I'm enjoying it and learning about it a lot, but there's a lot of great stuff about, and it's helping me. So, yep.
Yeah. Well, every time you post a picture of a plate, like it could be in like your stories or whatever, I'm like, that looks good.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's a very manageable. It's not, because if you're comfortable with keto, because you did keto for a little while, and basically those S meals are keto meals, but then you balance them out with the E meals. So you can have a bowl of oatmeal. Like sometimes when I was doing, especially Whole30, I'm like, I want a bowl of oatmeal. I just want a comforting bowl of oatmeal because I really do love oatmeal, and now I can, and I just know how to work it into my day. And so it's a lifestyle. It really is. And the thing that got me was that every testimonial I read, which you'll read testimonials about every single diet out there where someone lost 100 pounds in 100 days or whatever. But, so that isn't necessarily the only thing, but all these gals, they gave these testimonies and said, I have done this for 2 years and I have kept the weight off. So like that, it's not just like I bounced back and, after 3 weeks, I gained it all back, because I stopped the diet plan. So it's just a really feasible plan. And I like it. And it's not like my kids can't eat on it. Like it could be a family thing because it's not like Frankenstein ingredients of food and stuff like that. So it's a nice mesh of how I like to eat and how I like to cook and how it makes me feel. So it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it seems like you do a lot of vegetables in there and that's just, we're all supposed to be eating more veggies. So yeah,
that's a process. I've never hated vegetables, but I certainly eat a lot more than I used to and I like them. So yeah, especially when you grow them. Are you growing a garden this year, Britt?
Yes. Okay. So I've got 2 or 3 plants that were doing super well and everything else was like teeny weeny puny. So my garlic was doing well. And I was like, yeah, well, because Melissa gave me those garlics. So that's why. And then the other 2 plants were doing well because I got them from Lowe's.
Yeah, that's okay.
I was trying so hard to grow things straight from seed. And I think I've planted probably 30 sunflowers and I've got 1 puny little sunflower. Yeah. Oh man. So I'm trying, but I'm very excited for, we got some squash that's coming in, some tomatoes and, nice. Again, the garlic. I don't know when to harvest my garlic. When do I harvest
Like them? Now.
Like right now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like go out after this and harvest.
Okay. I'm going to run out in the rain and I'll be like harvesting. My husband's like, what are you doing? Like Melissa said to harvest.
It's just pulling it. You're just going to pull it. It's not anything super complicated. So you'll just pull it, but it's probably right about now. Unless it's like, it should be like a little bit yellowed and flopped over a bit.
Yeah.
The stalks. And then that's how it tells you that it's done.
And it's done. Okay. Well, my dog, Eugene, kept trying to dig them up at the beginning of the season. Yeah, little stinker. And I kept replanting them. And I'm like, no. Yeah, this is really off topic. I had a chicken, because I have chickens, everybody. I don't know if you know this. I have chickens. I was letting her free range and she picked my entire pea plant, like root and all, and like started running off with it. And I said, no. And I ran after her. And I caught her and I pulled it out of her mouth and I put it back in the ground.
Oh my god!
I don't know. Is it a livestock?
Like, I feel like my life is like so like boring. Like, I want a funny story with the chicken. Like, I want to have a cow. I want to feed some.
Let me show you something.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you will.
No.
You will, Lisa.
People on the podcast will not get to see this unless they go on my Instagram later. But my chickens wear clothes, and this is a jacket.
That's so cute.
And I have. I won't get it out
just so that Brittany can make your chicken.
I have a green grass skirt over there, and I've got some Hawaiian fabric. I'm making them Hawaiian shirts and grass skirt dresses.
That is the most interesting thing I've heard all day. Like,
have you ever raised animals, Lisa?
No.
And do you have a garden? I don't know if you're in a rural area.
I want to do all these things. I'm like, oh my god, I want to do everything, but yeah, no. Right now, I'm like, I can't even.
Oh yeah, no. That's why I really just started gardening. Because I was in the throes of babydom. So yeah, don't worry. But if you want to, throw a sunflower seed in a pot and your daughter would love it. It's pretty exciting when her sunflower starts growing. So yeah.
That is something that I want to teach. I want to teach Lily is I want to teach her to like, hey, like maybe we can have like a mommy and daughter garden or something.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be really cute. Yeah.
Just a couple of containers. Yeah.
It's not something that I'm personally interested in for like myself, but it is something that I'd love to share.
Yeah.
With kids, it's so, I don't know, but.
Definitely. No, it's fun. I love gardening with my kids. It is fun that they get excited. Like, Mom, there's a tomato. Can I pick it? And sometimes they bring me the tomatoes that are not ready to pick, but it is fun when they do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, we have blueberry bushes, and Clara starts picking them like the second they start turning a little bit blue, but they're not ready. And she's like, these are so good. I'm like, they are not. Like, you are lying. It's like, stop picking them. I need those for later. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Clara.
She's just like me though. She's like me.
She's so adorable. The milk story from Wednesday Night Bible Club. I will always think of her with Kurt telling the milk story, the milk sinned. Remember?
Yeah, it was so random. Clara sitting there at breakfast one day, and she's like, "Did you know, Mommy, that when milk goes sour, it's because it's sinned?" And I'm like, "What? Like what?
And I told my husband, and he knew exactly what she was talking about, and I wasn't there that day, so I did not get the reference, but the two of them did. So that's
the milk's spoiled, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where in the Bible you found that, but cool. Okay, yeah, but she still brings that up sometimes.
So funny.
Right. Well, this was so much fun, Melissa. Thank you so much for being here and letting us pick your brain and all that, and helping us learn how to stay organized and get a workout in every now and then.
Inspired. Like, I'm like, man, like I'm going to go like do this thing now.
Oh, good. Well, that's my hope with my blog. I started writing it because I realized that writing was enjoyable to me and I enjoyed encouraging other people. So that is my hope, is to encourage other moms, either homeschooling or not, in the gardens and at home, and also share my state because I'm a proud Mainer. We have a lot of wonderful things to see in our state. And so I really want to encourage people and just share and to explore. And local business is important to me as well. So I try to share that on my blog as well. So swing by my blog, onemainmama.com, and my Instagram by the same name. And let me know, shoot me a message. Let me know where you heard me if it was here. And I'll tell the Imperfect Moms Club that it was right there. So that's fabulous. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Imperfect Moms Club.